We have been getting so many emails lately, which is fantastic. We love them. But a lot of these emails have been about visa mistakes, visa denials, visa problems, both problems that people have run into and problems that people have figured out a solution for.
Yeah.
And we love seeing that. So we're going to give you 8 things we're seeing a lot of lately so that you won't run into the same problems on your visa.
Hi, I'm Raina.
I'm Jason.
We are Baguette Bound. We help Americans move, adjust, and enjoy life in France.
Okay, let's get right to it. Number one, when people choose the duration of their visa and they intend to renew their visa in the future, so they want something that is renewable, they can continue on.
You're going to stay in France.
When they choose the duration, they choose 6 months to 1 year, which makes sense because your visa is good for 12 months and then you renew it over and over and over. But that's the wrong choice. Do not choose 6 to 12 months or 6 months to a year. That will get you a visa that cannot be renewed. You'll have to return back to the US to get a new one.
Right.
Instead, on the duration question, you want to choose longer than a year. That will get you the one that is renewable. So check that box.
Yeah, more than 12 months.
Yeah.
That's you. Next up.
Housing, accommodation problems on the visa.
Yes.
Yeah.
How long do you need to show accommodations for to feel pretty confident that you're going to be approved?
There is no specific requirement in the list, so you don't exactly know how many months of housing you need. One thing is for sure, you do not need 12 months of housing.
We see people get approved all the time with less than 12 months, but
what you do need is at least 3 months. That should be the gold standard. You should provide at least 3 months. This can be a lot of different types of housing, hotels, Airbnbs, short-term rentals, long-term rentals. Any of those are acceptable, but show proof of 3 months or longer in your application.
And you want to acknowledge that you do not have housing for the entire duration of stay and include a letter that says, I know I've booked temporary housing, my intention is to get on the ground and then start to look for longer term housing so that you can address that. It is part of a bigger picture. Having more housing is not bad. We don't want to minimize that, but also we don't want you to feel stressed that you gotta figure it out for the whole year or you're not gonna get a visa. But do more than a week of hotel. That probably won't work.
Number 3 is the letter of intent. Raina just referenced including a letter. That is a great idea. You want to include a letter as kind of the cover page for your application, saying who you are, why you need a visa, and what your plans are. But the problem is you can be too detailed. You can give too much information about your entire life plan and your entire background and why you love. That's not necessary. It's not a book.
Yeah.
Be short, be specific, be simple. Where are you living? Do you intend to renew? Why do you need a visa?
Yeah. Why are you coming to France?
The flip side problem is being too vague. You provide a letter, you give your name, and that you need a visa. Well, that's not enough. It needs to be something a little more substantial, so you kind of want to split the difference. There's a little bit of an art to it. It's less of a science, but name, why you need a visa, and where you're going to be, and that you will look for additional housing after you arrive.
Yeah, your intent in being here, and that should make sense with the rest of the documents that you're providing.
Yep.
All right, next up. Another thing that we've seen we've seen a couple denials from this one. Is not making it easy to interpret your financial data.
Yeah, so most of the visas that you'll be applying for have some type of financial requirement, some type of proof of funds, proof of financial information to meet some minimum requirement for your finances that you can support yourself in France. Often there is a lot of data to present. You might have many banks, many savings accounts, you might have several pensions to include. This can be page after page after page after page. So keep in mind that the officials at the embassy are very smart, they're very competent, they are doing a lot of work. They're doing this very quickly.
They don't want to do forensic accounting.
Right, so your packet might be 50 or 60 or 80 pages of financial support. Don't force them to read 80 pages closely front to back, reading all the lines. One trick, something you can do to make it simple, is at the beginning of your financial data, provide a summary sheet, a chart, something simple, to make it clear that within those 80 pages behind it, there's really maybe only 3 or 4 or 5 things they're looking for. Here's the account, and here's the dollar that they're looking for. Then as they go through each page, they can just check it off. Yep,
Yeah.
there's that money I'm looking for. There's that money.
Yeah.
There's that money. I see everything here very simply.
You make it easy for them to see that you
Yeah.
qualify for this visa, and then all they do is they're looking for your backup information.
Yeah, keep it simple. Number 5.
All right, not checking a source directly when you're feeling really confused with something.
There is a lot of information online, a lot of people talking about this, providing opinions, providing their experiences. That's all wonderful.
Right, super helpful.
It can be very confusing when you need specific information or facts.
Yes.
So, something you can do, refer to the French Republic, the French government websites about the visa. They provide a lot of specific information and exactly what you need or don't need for these visas.
Yeah.
Use that as your reference document.
Right. Get yourself a browser translator if you haven't already, so that you can search these sites.
Yeah. The second thing that not a lot of people realize, and that sometimes people pay us money for.
We're giving away a trade
I hate
secret
to give away
here.
our business secrets here, is that you can actually email and contact the French embassy in Washington, or even the French immigration offices here in France, and just ask them your questions. You've got something, you need a specific answer, you need an opinion on specific data. You can ask.
Right.
I can't guarantee that they'll give you a really good response, but we have found that they've been very responsive, they're quick to respond and provide some type of resource or answer to your question.
It's shocked us, actually. So make sure your question is clear and specific, and I probably wouldn't send them 50, but know that that is a resource that you can use, and we have several times.
Yeah. Short, simple, yes, no, this or that type of questions. They're pretty good on getting back.
All right, next up. Applying for a visitor visa with the intention that after you're here a year, you will just change it. We hear that a lot. I'll just change it to some kind of a work visa, be that a professions liberale for self-employment or to look for a job and find actual employment. So there's a couple of issues with this strategy.
Yes, it can be problematic. And it definitely makes sense, right? The visitor visa is easy and you'll figure things out as you go.
Right.
However, there's some problems here. First, if you apply for the visitor visa, you have certain limitations and restrictions, and you've made a promise not to work in the French economy, right? Later on, if you want to change, there is the potential that the French embassy or the French government, the French immigration officials, the French immigration officials who will process your change request may assume that given you applied for something else originally and now you're changing,
you
quickly changed, perhaps you were not being completely honest and straightforward in your original application.
Doesn't look good.
2 problems. That will color their opinion on your change for a request change, and it may color their opinion on the original
renewal request
approval that they gave you for that visitor visa. So you put yourself in risk 2 times.
Yeah.
So what can you do about this?
Right. Couple different things. One would be, if you do come here on a visitor visa and you're here for 2 or 3 years with a few renewal cycles, and then you think, oh gosh, I see this opportunity, I'd like to take advantage of it, I want to request a change. That's more likely to get approved because it feels more congruent with what you said you were coming to France for, right? So one thing is just need to plan that you're going to need to wait for a few renewal cycles. And actually, once you get to 5 renewals, if you request a 10-year card, a long-term residency, those come with work rights. So that's another path there. The second thing is, we've also seen sometimes that we get it, right? Like even if you know that you may want to work or open a business, it's a lot to come and do everything all at once. So the idea of coming on a visitor visa, finding your house, getting settled, not having the pressure right off the bat to move a business.
Right.
But what you may want to do is actually, sometimes people have better luck going back to the US, right? You do your first 12 months, your visitor visa, you go back to the US, and then you ask for that professions liberale visa.
Right, so if you haven't been here for 2 or 3 full years, full renewals, and you feel like there's a need to change, you may have much better luck going back to your home country and requesting a change there.
Right, just like ask for a brand new visa, basically, is what we're saying, and the upside of that is your business plan, if it's for like a self-employment visa, it can be in English because you're applying to the Washington, D.C. French embassy.
And save you a lot of time and hassle.
Yes. Okay. Number 7, feeling pressure to pay a lot of money to a relocation company because you feel like that's the only way to like guarantee you're going to get a visa.
And fix all your problems in the future.
Yeah.
Right? Big promises can be made and they can cost a lot of money. Now, it can be really worth it to hire someone for assistance. This may be something
It's
you've
all
never
new.
done before.
Yeah.
And some additional outside assistance and some expertise and some help can be really beneficial.
Right.
Just know that no one can give you 100% approval that anything will be guaranteed.
Yeah.
No one can give you 100% guarantee that these problems or hurdles coming in the future will be non-existent or they'll be simple to get over. There will be challenges when you get here.
Yeah. You're doing something challenging, and kudos to you. So we just don't want, we think getting help can be great. And also we want you to know no one can guarantee something that a third party entity, the French embassy in Washington, is making a decision on. So know that they might tell you if something goes wrong, they will continue to help you and work through it. But we don't want you to walk away thinking you've got to pay a ton of money to guarantee something, because that's just not.
And this is the only way.
Yeah, it's not in a relocation company's hands. Number 8, mistake. Not giving yourself any margin anywhere in those last couple of weeks when you're wrapping things up.
And it's really hard because there is a lot going on at the end, right? Maybe you're selling a house, you're packing your things, you're trying to ship things, you're getting stuff figured out with your pets, your kids.
You're saying goodbye to friends. You're trying to get in another meal at your favorite Mexican restaurant.
And do that because it's hard to find really good Mexican restaurants when you're here.
Yes.
So there's a lot going on. I get it. A couple things you can do to try to create some margin and just make it a more enjoyable experience. When you buy a plane ticket, buy something that's changeable so you can move the plane if you need to without feeling stressed.
Pay those few dollars more.
If you are moving out of your home and going into some type of temporary, like a hotel or something, plan on maybe you need a few extra days, and that's going to be okay.
Budget for it.
When you apply for your visa, you can do that up to 3 months before your arrival day. So you can start that early, which can be hard, but starting early is always better.
Yeah.
The last thing that a lot of people overlook is when you apply for your visa, you will select an arrival date on your application. This arrival date is the day your visa starts. That's when you're telling France, start my visa on this day. But it does not have to be the day that you arrive.
Yeah. It's okay.
So if you ask for an April 1st arrival date or start date, that will be the start of your visa. But it does not have to be the day you actually land and arrive in France.
Yeah. If you have to push it back and you get here, you know, say it starts on April 1st and you get here April 7th because something went a little haywire.
Perfectly fine.
Totally okay.
Don't stress.
Yep.
Yeah. So build some margin in, take advantage of those options if you can.
Yeah. All right, so those were a few things that we've just been seeing a lot lately, and we want you to be able to avoid them, but there's all kinds of things out there that we may have missed.
Yeah, so if you've run into other problems, or even better, you've run into problems and you found a solution for them, put those in the comments below. Hopefully we'll have some good conversation about those things.
All right, thanks for watching.
A bientôt.